treatments: thermal heat treatment, where we call it as a heat treatment, thermal treatment. Secondly, mechanical working, cold work or hot working. And third is chemical alteration, that is change in the chemical composition. So when we are talking of heat treatment, sometimes heat treatment also gives us these two parameters. We get heat treatment for change in temperature with change in mechanical properties and change in chemical composition also. A combination of these treatments are also possible: thermomechanical treatment and thermochemical treatments. These are also called as heat treatment. The treatment may affect the whole sample or only surface. That means your heat treatment would be changing the property of complete sample or only the surface. A typical industrial treatment cycle may be complicated with many steps. That is a combination of simple steps which are outlined in this coming slides. Okay, so what is treatment? If we talk of heat treatment, we have thermal, that is heat treatment; mechanical, that is short pinning or hot working and cold working; and chemical, wherein we are changing the surface chemical composition. So heat treatment can be of two types again: bulk, that is complete volume, or surface, only surface is affected. So this is where we have done till now. Now we will go and see the broad classification of all important heat treatments. So these many heat treatments are possible. A broad classification of heat treatments is possible and is given below. Many more specialized treatments or combinations of these are also possible. Okay, so basically heat treatment, you classify it into two groups: bulk, that means complete object or volumetric; surface, that is only surface will be affected. So when you are talking of bulk, there are three main groups. One is annealing, second is normalizing, third is hardening and tempering, fourth is Marr tempering, and fifth is austenitic tempering, that is called austempering. So for our case, we are going to deal with 1, 2, 3 and 4. We are not going to touch Marr tempering and austempering. Okay, right? Then till now we have done full annealing, process annealing, wherein recrystallization temperature takes place, and annealing is done for what purpose? Stress relieving, that is normalizing process is also done for stress relieving, and annealing is also done for stress relieving. There is a slight change between these two. Then we have third, that is spheroidizing type of annealing. We have discussed these things in details in previous lecture. So I am going ahead with next treatment, that is hardening treatment. Okay, so what and where the range, what is the range where these treatments are possible? You can note down or take the snapshot of this diagram. Range of temperatures where annealing, normalizing and spheroidizing treatment are carried out for hypo and hypereutectoid steels. This 0.8 means eutectoid steel. Left side of 0.8 is hypoeutectoid steel. Right side of 0.8 is hypereutectoid steel. Right? So where do you have full annealing? Above 800 degree temperature and up to 950 or 1000 degree temperature. Where do you have normalizing? Starting from 850 or 800 degree centigrade and going down. So you get normalizing. Again, if your material is hypereutectoid, the normalizing can be done along this line. What is the meaning of this line? Along this line, it is that when you are having this as your carbon content, you should follow this temperature. If you have higher carbon content, you should follow this temperature for normalizing. Right? Is it clear? The meaning of this line is that it temperature increases, normalizing temperature increases with carbon content. This is very clearly indicated over here. Now, three different processes which are also part of annealing, sometimes called as surface annealing or stress relieving or spheroidizing. are possible at a temperature just near to the 723, that is lower critical temperature. When you heat the material at lower critical temperature, hold it there for limited time, for known time, you get spheroidizing, recrystallization and stress relieving. First you get stress relieving, second you get recrystallization. When recrystallization is prolonged, you get spheroidizing as a grain structure capability. So this is what we have discussed in earlier lectures, and now we move ahead for further part, and that further part is called as hardening treatment. And before hardening treatment, we should understand what is hardenability, whether material is having a capacity to become hard or not. What is hardenability? Capacity of a material to become hard or not, right? So when we are talking of this hardenability, it is a measure of capacity of a steel to be hardened in depth. That means along the thickness when quenched from its austenizing temperature. Now where is austenizing temperature? This is the austenizing temperature. Above this line you have austenite. So when it is heated above austenizing temperature, austenite formation and capability of getting hard is called as hardenability. So you should remember this as definition, and wherever definition of hardenability is asked, you must write this definition. Don't put it is the ability to become hardened, it is the capacity to be hardened, it is so and so, it is hardness that comes on. No, it is the ability or capacity of a steel to be hardened. It is half definition. In depth when quenched from its austenitizing temperature. જ્યારે એને 900 950 ડિગ્રી ટેમ્પરેચર પરથી સીધું એને કુલિંગ કરવામાં આવે, ક્વેન્ચિંગ કરવામાં આવે, ત્યારે એ જે હાર્ડ થઈ શકે, એ કેપેસિટીને આપણે એને હાર્ડનેબિલિટી કહીએ છીએ. So what are the factors that affect hardenability? So these are some factors that affect hardenability. Chemical composition. First is carbon content. Since we are talking of steels, it is only carbon content. Increasing percentage carbon increases hardenability. This is one characteristic. Carbon content વધે તો hardenability વધી જાય. Alloying element. Every common alloying element except cobalt. Cobalt સિવાયના બધા જ alloying elements hardenability વધારે છે. Okay. Austenite grain size. Increased grain size increases hardenability due to reduction in pearlite nucleization sites. So these are the factors affecting hardenability. What are the factors affecting hardenability? Chemical composition. You have two parts. One is carbon content and another is alloying element. In carbon content, as carbon content increases, hardenability increases. Second, alloying element, except cobalt, all the alloying element improve the hardenability. And second is grain size of austenite. Hardenability increases with the grain size of austenite. If grain size of austenite is larger, hardenability is better. Now you can just see your first point. In this first point we have carbon content. Increasing carbon content increases hardenability. So there is a graph. You have 0 to 1. This is your eutectic, this is hypereutectic, this is hypoeutectic, eutectoid, sorry. Okay, so as your carbon increases, hardness also increases, but you see near about 1% carbon, you are getting a stable line, that is saturation of hardening ability, and therefore we have to add alloying element. Yellow dots are showing alloying elements and green boxes are showing carbon content. So as you increase the alloying element, you are getting higher hardenability. As you increase the carbon content, still you are getting better hardenability. So this is about hardenability, some basic clear classification of different heat treatment processes. And now further we will go for understanding different hardening processes, okay, and classification of different hardening processes. I hope you have understood these things.